to go back to your point you said about me with like Mr. Rogers. Now imagine me. When I go home, I'm a challenging personality type. Like I'm working with like top achievers like you all day long and, athletes, and I'm going from call to call, or, I'm creating training programs and unpacking systems and, working with people. I really want to understand how to level up everybody with real stuff, not fake stuff, like real stuff. And I love it every single day. But the last thing that my 3 little kids at home in New York City need is that challenger personality type.
Have you been that dad before?
Yes, okay. Yeah.
And that husband before?
And I made mistakes with it. Now, I'm not judging myself because we're human beings. But I'm good at coaching, and I caught myself, and where I caught myself was with my daughter Sophie, who it's Molly, Sophie, and Charlie. Charlie's 2.5, and he will probably bring down New York City. He's an absolute just breaker of everything.
Okay, like a bruiser.
He's a bruiser.
Yeah,
and
my youngest is the same.
But at the same time, he's a sweet little kid. But Sophie, she has this amazing emotional bandwidth. She has incredible highs, and when she has a tantrum, it can be an incredible, and it can stay there too. And, when she would go into that tantrum, that's a force. That's an emotional force. And again, they're just bundles of emotional energy. It's an emotional force. And so what do I do as dad? Meet that force with big dad showing up. It's like, stop that right now, enough. That's not even because you're freaking out over the fact that I brought you the Elsa spoon and not the Anna spoon. Come on. So anyway, and then I caught myself and I'm like, wait a second, Todd, what are you doing? You know better. And then I was like, okay, so I'm bringing this work identity home with me, and I haven't created the new identity that I haven't really shaped it. Because I like to find sources of inspiration for how I want to show up. People that have already done it, because human beings love to map and model things, because it makes it easier for us to then execute whatever the skill is that we want. And I immediately went to my father. I'm a huge extrovert. My dad's quiet and introverted. He's a rancher and farmer, man of very few words. When he spoke in prophetic cliches kind of thing. But
like Roy Rogers.
Yeah, he just had some great stuff that he shared. I was very lucky to have the parents I got. But Mr. Rogers as well. Because so if a challenger personality sits on this end of the spectrum, Mr. Rogers sits on this end of the spectrum because he wasn't a challenger. Right. He was patient. He was playful. He was really kind. And I was like, wait a second, those are the traits that I want to bring to being a dad when I'm at home. Now let's play with that stuff. Because my experience of working with people is every trait, every emotional quality that's needed to be successful is already inside. We're born with it. And it's just that we get trapped by our identities and how we describe ourselves with our egos it's like, well, I'm a pocket square guy. Let's just tell you. It's like I'm buttoned up or something. Right. I was telling you earlier that when I go on stages and I speak, I wear a t-shirt and a zip-up sweater, because I know that sometimes people who wear this can come across as intimidating, or that, the perception is that person's trying to be too perfect or something. You and I wear this stuff. I like it. I love that you wear that stuff. It looks freaking amazing. You wear it well.
Thanks. I've learned.
Yeah.
But for you realized it was separating you from your audience. And so you were like, let me just dial that down.
Yeah, and I wanted to be more playful on stage too.
Right.
And so, and there's all sorts of science behind this, which I just geek out on. But so Mr. Rogers and my dad became my inspiration. And so in that situation, if Sophie's going to have a freak out, how would Mr. Rogers respond in that moment? Well, I know how he would respond, because I've seen enough of his shows growing up and know enough about him as a human afterwards. Is he would get down on one knee immediately, again, match eye to eye, get down on their level.
Yeah.
And instead of trying to communicate with words, they don't understand that much. They don't understand that as much. But what they do understand is action. So then I would immediately grab Sophie and bring her in, and I just give her a big hug and a squeeze. Don't say anything. Say, I got you, honey. That's it. Just, I got you. And the first time I did it, which was about 2 hours after that one meltdown, when I caught myself, not acting like I'd want to, she melted immediately. Her torment or her tantrum would typically go on for say 8 minutes or 12 minutes. It was done in 8 seconds, 10 seconds. And then immediately she ran off to go play, completely forgetting about whatever it was.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that right there is the moment where you've activated a heroic self. When you got to actually apply the traits of what you wanted to show up with, because that's the feeling you get. You're like, there is this like internal moment of like,
Right.
fuck, that was a good.
I did it. I was the right guy in the right
job,
moment.
Dad.
And
Good job, Dad.
Right. I did the right thing.
And it felt great because she calmed down. And I mean, you want to see your kids happy and playful and doing their thing.